Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm here, of course, with Lindsay and also Kristen. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Lindsay. How are you today?
Good. How are
Doing
you?
very well, thank you.
Oh, doing good. I'm really excited. We're getting towards the end of July here, and of course, heading up here on the Therio Conference in Pittsburgh. And so, thought we'd all get together a little bit here today and maybe kind of go over some of those things we're looking forward to.
Right? Okay. Well, first, I want to introduce myself because I don't want to confuse everybody. Someone just popped in for the first time. I'm Christine, the Community Engagement Manager here at WiseOption. And while this is the first time you're seeing me, I'm actually been with WiseOption for like 4 years now. So I'm behind the social media posts and the email campaigns. So there you have it. And yeah, I'm glad to be here. We want to invite all of you, especially our industry friends in the equine reproduction world that are coming to Therio to come stop by to our Therio booth. And I'll have here Lindsay to invite you all.
Yeah, I will be in Pittsburgh next week, and I will be available at booth number 33. I'm very much looking forward to meeting everybody there and being a part of this very specific community here. And so, please come by and see me. Here in this kind of overview, we're going to talk about a quick little things that, maybe current users maybe aren't fully utilizing. Maybe they'd like to use this, or new prospects looking to simplify their reproduction system. If we've all gone, we're kind of towards the end of breeding season for most facilities in the country here, but trying to offer some solutions for next year. What were some of the things that made it really difficult? Come by and see me and see if we can talk about providing you a better streamlined solution to make your days a little bit simpler.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just have a little correction right there. We are actually booth 34. I know you're very
Oh,
excited
34.
to invite everyone. Yeah. We're
Gotcha.
actually
I
Sorry.
did
going
the
to
same
be
thing earlier.
34.
yeah, in booth 34. And I know Lindsay, you and Rachel used to work in reproduction facilities. Some of our audience might know, some of them might not. Rachel, I know that she's been using Wise Option during those years. You have an on and off relationship with Wise Option. And I am curious, what is that you are excited to share to everyone who will stop by our booth, that you were having a hard time back in the days, and seeing the features we have in Wise Option, like what are these features that you're excited to share them, like what, we actually have them here. I can't believe I had to be stressed out during that days, and now it's so much easier with these features. Maybe you can share some, and then Rachel could add some more as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And right, I'm going to caveat that these things that we're going to talk about today, they're just the tip of the iceberg, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So these are just some of the top things that that Rachel and I love about the equine reproduction module and package. The first one I'm going to talk about is communication with your clients. We have a feature called the shared reproductive logs. Not only does your customer portal provide accounting information, your current balances, invoice details, and ability to pay the bill via one of our integrations here, but then you can also have the ability to share information, reproductive information, with your customers as well, and you have that kind of autonomy to be able, like, this is the information that we're gonna be able to share. So some of my favorite pieces of that is, you'd be able to share your breeding log, so customers can see the mares that they have in foal that are carrying, and when they're due, when their last breed date is, when they're
Mm.
stallions. Then moving into more of the complicated processes, then be able to see your embryo transfer logs, so all of your recipient mares with their numbers, with their transfer dates, with all of that, and when they are due. So quick and easy lists that are accessible to your customers. And then taking it even a step further, we have something called the ART module, which is management of our aspiration and ICSI procedures. So then if you have a customer that has, used some of those services with you, they can also see the statuses of maybe their ICSI, their current ICSI processes, how those embryos are, with the statuses of them, how many have been frozen, how many have been transferred, and what the status is. Then switching gears on the stallion side as well, customers would be able to see current inventories of both their frozen semen and their vitrified embryo inventory. So that's the customer facing side. So I might kind of turn Rachel over to maybe talk about another feature here.
Yeah. I love everything you mentioned there, especially with like on the customer side, right? Like we spend in reproduction facilities, right, spend so much time updating their clients, right? Because like, right, a lot of stuff happens in a day, right? No matter how many, you check a lot of mares, you do a ton of embryo transfers, and trying to keep up with all of those, even though, right, we have several features within WiseOption between, form letters to send quick emails or text messages to clients, right, when things happen, that can still get really cumbersome, especially for clients that have a high volume, right? Like it's all well and good to have these features, right? Which are still very critical for a lot of our users, right? To be able to send those quick, like, hey, congratulations, your mare ovulated. We'll check her again here in, 14 days or whatever for pregnancy, right? That's really nice. But when that person has 30 mares, they don't want to be getting 10 text messages a day, right? About all of those ones. So that's something that I really love about the shared reproduction log in general with the customers, right? Is that then it reduces the number of those communications, so it feels less overwhelming. And it also, right, puts that in the client's hands to be able to, hey, at any point, I know I can click here on my portal that I've bookmarked and access and see my latest statuses for my embryo transfers, for my pregnancies, etc. And I do also really love something that I love to mention with users as well about that feature is that it is on a per customer basis. So if you have certain clients that you're like, for 90% of my clients, this is great, but for those 10%, I think this would be really overwhelming for them and just not good for either of us. It is activated on a per client basis. So I just want to throw that out there. So you have to activate it. So just know that it's, you can pick and choose which clients do have access to this, but I think that's a real game changer for a lot of our users on both sides, client experience and also on the user side. So I think that's a wonderful first feature to do. On my end, I think the second one that I would mention there is for the user side now in the management. Right, is the frozen semen and vitrified embryo inventory. Right, so both from just like, right, an inventory management perspective, right, needed to know exactly how much frozen semen you have on hand, what embryos, right, you have in storage, right, and then that leads into, right, then you're pulling from those tanks, you're transferring those embryos, you're shipping semen, you're using that semen to breed mares with or ICSI, and being able to, right, link those transactions together so that that inventory is automatically updated as you're transferring embryos, as you're breeding mares, as you're shipping semen, right? And that's what WiseOptions vitrified embryo and frozen semen inventory do and was designed to do. On the flip side of that, right, because it always goes hand in hand, most users, right, then that have that inventory also charge for storage, right, or need to charge for storage. I've come across several users that, use systems in the past that they didn't have an effective way for billing for storage, so they couldn't, so they just didn't, right? And that's right. a lot of right revenue that's potentially being lost, right? Because it's a lot of time and money spent managing that inventory from, just hard costs like tanks and nitrogen to obviously, right, tech costs of, right, having the person and individuals and systems that manage that inventory on a daily basis. So WiseOptions frozen inventory does both. Not only does it help you manage your inventory, but it also helps make billing easy. And you can have different rates, and with 2 clicks at the end of each month or quarter or year, you can bill for that inventory effectively. So to make sure that, right, you're not spending weeks every quarter or every month trying to calculate that inventory, or just I've had some users that are like, we just had to do flat charges for everybody because we couldn't do that, right? And that wasn't really fair to some clients, right, that had proportionally more inventory than others, and those that had proportionally less either. But we had to charge them something. So I think on the management side, and obviously then leading into our client side as well, that's been a real game changer for a lot of users.
Yeah, so that is like pretty much automated workflow. You do the inventory and then automatically WiseOption does the guesswork of
Mhm.
billing, and then later on invoicing makes things
Right.
so
Yes.
much easier.
Based on the rules that users set up, right? Because everyone bills for storage a little differently, right?
Yes.
We have a lot of options when it comes to frozen storage rates, because everyone bills a little differently for semen and embryos. And so those rates then are wise option with 2 clicks at the end of your billing period. Will do the calculations for you and create invoices for you.
Awesome. And then,
Yeah.
like you mentioned earlier, Lindsay, this all shows in there in the customer portal account. Is that right?
Yeah, so under reproduction logs, there's a frozen semen and
Yeah.
vitrified embryo inventory. So, one of the things of, if a stallion owner or is the one that is sending contracts and they need to kind of understand what their inventory is as of right now, it's a great way to be able to view that and have them
Mm.
share that if you choose to kind of share that with them,
Yes.
and or be able to pull that information from the system if they do
Yeah.
call and give that information without any hesitation, and with confidence of what you have in the tank is in your inventory numbers in
So it's not
WiseOption.
very super seamless, like pretty much like in our reproduction solutions, like all the features are pretty much talking to each other. Like you update one,
Yes,
everything else gets
absolutely.
updated. I think that is very underrated in this industry. Like it
Yes.
does the guesswork for each part, pretty much for each staff, because that's like, separate staff, the customer
Mhm.
facing ones, it's the admin, and then the actual, equine breeders on the other side, but they all communicate seamlessly through our features.
Yes.
Any other feature that you want to add?
Yeah, I think there's one that comes also is for the facilities that are having maybe an outside aspiration or an
Mm,
ICSI lab also working hand in hand, being able to provide updates to each other seamlessly and have it be a centralized place within WiseOption. We have an aspiration and ICSI laboratory connection link that you can
mm,
share with that laboratory that they only see the aspirations or the ICSIO sites that they were working on with you, and have them be able to just with a couple clicks update the statuses of the embryo or the oocytes they have injected, what has progressed, what has cleaved, what was discarded, and what was frozen, or what was transferred if it was a
mm.
recipient mare facility as well. So we call those just kind of those connection links. They're private, but they're seamless. They're easily shareable. None
Interactive.
of those 10 people in a
Yeah.
text message
Yes.
updating each other, which embryo, which aspiration date was this, what stallion was that for, all of those things, communications that can get really jumbled when we're talking about really complex processes such as aspiration and ICSI. Being able to provide these links kind of takes that guesswork out of it, and also um, consolidates time as well.
Yes.
And so you're not calling that facility all the time, hey, my customer really needs an update, all of those things. So again, that time off of the phone that can be automated, you doing something else, and that same updates that your customer would get, is as
Yeah.
well. That is also a underutilized, I think, feature that I would love to see our facilities utilize just a little bit more that use WiseOption, because the ones that do love it.
Yeah. Well, this is the best time for you to invite not only, non-wise option users, but also our users to reach out and
Yeah.
see all of these features that you shared in action, because I think I may not understand very much about, equine reproduction, but based on what you're just saying right here, I could see and tell that these features working all together, very interactive. I could imagine while you're explaining about that, the connection link, that it's a very integrated form that once it's updated, it updates WiseOption automatically. No,
Yes.
Yeah.
no other typing or re-entering of data needed for these kind of features. So I'll let you, Rachel and Lindsay, again invite our friends, industry friends, to see you at Therio, and also reach out to see those features in action.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Booth 34.
Yes.
34. I am looking forward to seeing everybody there. Safe travels getting to Pittsburgh, and hope to see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.